Hi, everyone. Quick note from editing Simone. I just wanted to let you know that even though our topic today was supposed to be overconsumption in the planner community, we talk a lot more about our own spending habits and how we got there and what influences them. And then later on in the episode, we do talk about what we think overconsumption is or isn't specifically within the planner community. So the conversation does hop around a lot. Sorry we didn't make it more linear, but that's just how conversations happen. So stick around and let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Planners, the Planner Stationery and Journaling podcast. I am Simone from Planner Coven, and I am here with.
Hi, I'm Michael from Michael in the Margins on YouTube and Instagram.
And I'm Lily, the vegan organizer on YouTube.
So today we have a very interesting topic, and that is overconsumption in the planner community. Or I'm just going to talk about myself. But, in general, being a part of this community and what we see how that might influence our consumption. So, I I think my experience, especially in the recent year, has been different from like my whole planner life. I feel like I started doing planner stuff in like 2016, 2017. That's when I first got introduced to Hobonichi, of course, mainly through Lily's videos.
Oh,
Yes, I was obsessed because I was like, I want to see somebody talking about a Hobonichi. And then I found your video, and you were like, you talked about the grid size and the layout and like compared different models. And I was like, this is the nerdiness that I need. This is the,
I'm
yeah,
honored.
yes.
Makes me so happy.
It was great. And like even at the time, I I've never had like uh much money, but even at the time I was like whatever extra money I had, I just spent it on planners.
Mhm.
It just very quickly became a hyperfixation and like a hobby. And I didn't really have any other hobbies at the time, except for maybe plants, which can also be expensive. But it started with Hobonichi and jet pens, um, and stickers. And so I think I would like go through like bouts of buying lots of stuff and then like not buying stuff for a long time. Then I would buy a bunch of stuff. And so this is like my collection of stuff. Um, like these are all notebooks and planners, this shelf here, and some like pouches that I don't really use on a daily basis. Like it is sort of like an archive, and I've gotten rid of a lot, especially because I've moved. I did two cross-country moves in this past year. So like this is I downgraded all or I didn't downgrade. I downsized all my washi tape. So this is all the washi tape I have now.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's like
It's impressive
petite
and so
and neat.
neat. Yes, it's neat and petite.
Um, but I still, I think it was my sort of desire to buy something was always like triggered by something. So like either I would get a new planner or like I would be starting like a new style or maybe the beginning of the planner season. Um, and also by like stress.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And just wanting to like um I don't know, maybe I feel like I wanted to control some aspect of my life, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like and I think over the past maybe 2 or 3 years when I got into ring planners, that was my most recent like planner consumption phase. Um, so like this is all this these are all my inserts for mini planners, for example,
Hmm.
for my mini 5 ring planners. But before that, I was in personal size, so I have a bunch of like personal size inserts and another pouch. Um,
I like the pouch.
Or well
yeah,
else are you going to keep them?
and here's another pouch.
Exactly. You need pouches to
Um,
put inserts in.
yes, this was a gift from Humble Chan actually.
Oh,
Um, but it's full of stickers. And is the rest of my stickers. So like, and some of these stickers, have been around for the better part of a decade.
hmm.
Um, and I love digging through it. But I'm also highly aware that I don't need to buy anymore. Um, Especially because in this past year, I haven't bought anything. I think I've talked about this in a couple of episodes, but like I'm kind of in a planner crisis with all this stuff that's been going on in my life.
Hmm.
So I didn't really use a planner actively in the past year. I'm getting back into it. And I still consider it like my main hobby.
Yeah.
But like the only thing I've bought in the past year are the monthly inserts for this planner from gosh, what is Plotter from Plotter, and then the weekly insert from Filofax.
Wow.
And that's it. That's all
I'm
I've bought. That's all the
I'm
planner stuff I bought in the past year.
I'm jealous of your shelf control.
Well, here's the I I feel like I could not justify buying anything because if I didn't have any any idea of how to use it, um, I just couldn't do it. I don't know. Um, but I also feel like I'm in a planner identity crisis. So that's
Mm.
heavily influencing my buying decisions. All that said, the other day, I was like, do I want to Hobonichi Weeks? Um, do I want to jump on jet pens and maybe get an April start or something? Luckily, they were all sold out, or I think I would have bought one. Um,
Oh no. I
yeah,
mean, I guess yeah, that's good, but like so I wouldn't that wouldn't stop me because then I would like go somewhere else and I would end up ordering one from the Hobonichi shop. Actually, I did do that recently. It's another story.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it's still admirable that you've resisted.
yeah. I think my life experience is coloring my planner use and planner consumption in a way that it hasn't before.
Hmm.
And I think a big thing is that I have not been consuming as much planner social media as I used to as well. Um, well, I when I'm going to sleep, I listen to a huge playlist of planner videos that I've collected over years.
I do
So
that
I
too.
am listening to planner videos a lot, but I would say I'm very like kind of checked out of like the current
Like
trends.
new planners that are coming out and
Yeah, yeah.
the like new paper and
I
yeah.
like did not I feel like I did not actively participate in the most recent planner season. Um, which was weird.
Yeah. I can't imagine how I would cope without it. Well, we'll get to that when we talk about when we get to my turn. But I think it's interesting because already it seems like a lot of it is relating to kind of emotional states,
Yeah.
which in my case I think causes me to overconsume. And it sounds like in your case that's kind of made you like step back and
Yeah.
not buy as much planner stuff.
I think if it was like it used to be like lower level like general stress from like my job or like um a normal move, like stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then that would be one of the things that would like sort of uh, uh get me to purchase something, but like just the level of stress from the past year has been like much higher than usual.
Mm.
So yeah, it's like a different level, if that makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
fascinating because like you mentioned earlier, this idea for needing to find control and like what better place to find control than like a planner where things seem to be like streamlined, but you've hit some kind of like apex level of like, well, life is just crazy, so it's like I'm just gonna ride the wind.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, before my technical glitch, I was just thinking about how it's interesting that there's like a limit to how much control you want to feel before you just kind of ride the wind and let go. And and therefore the stationery that I think is a kind of like, especially the planner side, a sense of like control area is like no longer needed.
I think the biggest thing was taking a step back from social media and not seeing all the things,
That
you
makes
know?
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I think it's like something that we all know, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's even if you know that that would be a big help. I mean, for me anyway, I I haven't been able to do it, even though I say to myself like I'm not going to buy any more notebooks. I'm not going to buy any more inks. I'm not going to buy any more pens. I have everything that I could possibly need. Then like I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I like that. And I know that like I should just like, stop watching YouTube, unsubscribe from all of the like, planner company, stationery company newsletters. But I'm like, but I need it. I don't want to. Which I think is, I mean, it's also a kind of emotional thing. I guess for me, my only way of dealing with stress is through my like planner hobby, and I like to use the stuff. So I think I've got better over the years at only buying things that I will use, but there is still quite a lot of things that fall under that um rubric. Like, there's a large number of inks, fountain pen inks that I can use, and there's a very large amount of undated notebooks that I like could technically someday use, that I have an idea what I would use them for once I got through like, the other 100 notebooks. But I'm like, but this one is beautiful and I need it. And so that is like my kind of go-to stress relief thing, which along with like watching planner videos. So obviously, as you have touched on, they kind of go hand in hand. Um, and even using them, like I kind of sometimes have this like sort of scarcity mindset, even though I know it's stupid, of like, oh, I'm really enjoying this notebook. What if what if they go out of print, like to my river paper, the original, and I can't get any more, and I should buy some spares? And then I say, no, no, there will be something new. Don't buy any spares. But it's like, it's very hard, like kind of to ignore that the voice that, and even if I'm like, okay, no spares, then like the next day some amazing new thing will come and I'm like, I really want to try that. And I kind of feel like, I think because in my case, like I have a job that pays quite well, but it's very stressful and I don't have a lot of free time. And also because of the long COVID, I can't really like have any other hobbies that involve like going out or doing things. So I sort of rationalized it by saying like, well, what else am I supposed to do? Like I can't do anything, so I'm gonna buy some bloody notebooks. Um, and it's kind of like yeah, it's like, well, okay, I don't have, there are lots of worse things that I could be doing, like at least I don't have a drinking problem, or like I don't know, like I don't spend all of my money on like I don't gambling, or like the things that are worse. I'm like, I'm just going to buy some more pens. And but it's but it's definitely tied to like kind of feelings of like having needing something to kind of like deal with stress, definitely, as well as being a hobby.
Yeah, but I think you also touch on something that's so important is like that scarcity mindset. And I think it's definitely like created as someone who's, a year into this like hobby and I just joined in. There everything is a limited edition of something.
Yes, like this.
And you see it and you're like, and now I know because I, have been here for a year, but like people jump on it so quickly and they click and they put it in their
Yeah,
cart and they buy it and it's gone in five
yeah,
minutes. And So it is really scarce, and I know it's by design, but like if you don't have time to think really, like, is that something I could use? Because if you think, it's gone. So it's if
Exactly.
you could possibly want it, you need to buy it right now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
Yeah, I was holding up this planner. So this is a Giglio medium Campagna. And Giglio, the way that they work with their planner covers is like everything is released like in batches. So they don't have in stock of everything right away. But then when they actually release something, like they announce like for, I don't know, this is our May release. These are the planners we're going to have. And they sell out so fast. Like this one, I think it's one of their least popular colors because they don't come out with it very often. I mean, it is bright green, but chartreuse is my favorite color. And I
Yeah,
saw this,
perfect for you.
and it was like one of the imperfect ones, and there was only two left, and I was like, well, I can't not buy that.
That's your sign from the universe.
Like there's no other way to get a personal like ring planner cover in that color. Like there's just not. So I felt like I did not have a choice in my planner life. I mean, I had the means and the ability, and it wasn't like a a stretch for me financially at the time. Um, even though they are very expensive. But like, yeah, I just felt like I was investing,
Yeah.
you know, I felt like I was investing.
And here you
Um,
have
yeah,
it, you're enjoying it, right? So I feel like that makes it worth it.
and I still love it a lot. Right now it's my reading archive. So all the inserts from my reading the
Oh,
reading
nice.
section. So and I have these tabs that are like alphabetical. So they're all organized by title.
Oh,
oh
that's cool.
wow.
So you keep it in your like current rings planner as a section, and then when you archive it, it turns into a reading journal.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yes. And I have these little star,
Oh, nice.
those are from the Coffee Monsters Co. Little star ratings.
That's a good solution to the, like dilemma that we were talking about, I think last time. Like, should I have a separate reading journal or incorporate it into one of my main planners, which you can't really do if you have a bound book. So
Right.
it's nice to see that you can like create, you can have the best of both worlds in that way if you have a ring planner.
Um, and I think that's why I got into ring planning. But ring planning specifically is one of the types of planners that like kind of enables you more to buy stuff because either you have to get inserts like custom made out of a paper that you want, or you have to buy the paper and then you have to buy printable inserts and then you need a printer to print them on. Um, Luckily, I had a printer when I got into ring planners, but also like a paper cutter. These are all my hole punches.
Oh.
Like I have a collection of hole punches. Um, because like I uh it felt like the one from my local office supply store was just trash. Um
Oh, of
so
course. You need
yeah,
a Japanese one.
I got some nice Japanese ones, and like this is the one I use for the larger size, like personal and A5, and this is for my mini because the holes are smaller. Um,
Mm.
and it punches less of the paper out. So like I was able to get very like specialized and specified stuff. And for instance, I with the scarcity mindset in mind, I found this really specific um inserts for my Mini 5. So they're from Reme Da Vinci.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh,
and
they're cute.
it's just plain cream grid paper with a 3 millimeter grid, which is like a perfect size for me because I write small, but it's not as small as two.
Yeah, two is like the Hibino is a bit too small. I used it, it was fine when I was using it as a planner, but I feel like as a journal it's too small. But
Yeah.
three or above, like 3 to 4 is kind of my happy spot.
And
3.7, one might say.
yeah, and it's cream Tomoe River paper. The 68 GSM. Yes, the 68 GSM.
Oh.
So it's great for ring planners because it's
Mhm.
slightly, it doesn't tear as
The-
easily
yeah, yeah.
and
The
it's easier
52
to
GSM is
turn. Yeah.
not good with ring planners.
I got it from Yoseka. Um, I ordered one pack at first just so I could try it, and then I was like, this is incredible. And it's what I use for my dailies. Um, and I use 2 pages per day. So when I was like, okay, I need to get more of this paper, they only had a few in stock, and I looked on Amazon Japan, and it wasn't available there for some reason. So like the only place I saw it was Yoseka, and I actually emailed them, and I was like, I did the math, because in each one there's I don't know how many there are. 50. There's 50. And so to last me a year, I would need a few packs, quite a few packs. And I was like, I don't want to buy out their entire stock of these inserts. I mean, I don't think this was before they ever started carrying plotter. Um, before plotter got
Uh-huh.
popular. Um, and I emailed them and I was like, it if I buy all of these, are y'all going to get it back in stock? Because I don't want to like hoard it and keep anybody else from buying it.
Oh,
And they were like, you can buy it, it's fine.
oh, that's so that's so sweet.
So yeah, I got like a year's supply. This was at the beginning of last year, and then I ended up not using it. So now I have a hoard of it. And now nobody else can buy it, and I feel bad. But this is
But see, sometimes it makes sense because, like, for example, the people who panic bought original Tomoe River paper when it was announced that it was going not going out of production. At the time I was like, come on, guys. Like everything's going to be fine. And then, in last year in the disaster, the Tomoe River paper crisis, I was like, oh, I bet those people are feeling pretty smug right about now. Like they were right. So, and like now I I gave one of my original Hobonichi A5 notebooks with the Tomitaro Makino cherry blossoms design on the cover to James back when, I thought we'd be able to get them forever. And he left it out in the garden. And then, like, when it was discontinued, I was like, you should be put in jail for this offense. Like, this is priceless. and and it actually withstood being like left like drenched in the rain in the garden because he had this idea he was going to do like wildlife and like flower sketches with it, which was very appropriate. And I think he did like two. And I mean, I am totally guilty of this myself. I'll be like, I will fill this notebook with this amazing thing, and then I do two, and then I'm like, actually, I'm rubbish at this. I don't. So he is using it now. We've started this new project where we're writing we're copying all of Shakespeare's sonnets with a friend of his in New York. We're doing this little sonnet project, and so he's using it. So I've forgiven him, and he's using fountain pens. But for like 2 years, I was really bitter about it because I was like, now it's ruined because you've used 2 pages and left it out in the rain, and these are irreplaceable. Which is
literally,
yeah, it's a bit
literally.
yeah. But actually, on that note, I feel like sometimes so this when Michael, when you mentioned the limited edition and like whole kind of situation and how you just like have to like buy now immediately because otherwise it will sell out. That is really bad. But then sometimes I've had success with it. So Archer and Olive is terrible for that because they always, they have new releases 4 times a year, actually often more. They have like a main release in like every season, and then they have some like kind of special one-off notebooks in between. So they're constantly releasing new things, and generally they sell out very quickly and then they don't restock them. They've now recently started this pre-order thing where like if it sells out in the first, I don't know, some amount of time, like within the first few hours or something, then they'll like put in a pre-order so that people can like um get a second chance. But the international shipping for Arch and Olive is exorbitant, and they now have international stockists. So the UK stockists don't always do the pre-orders. I think because the quantities are smaller. Anyway, so Archer and Olive is terrible for that. And when I was like really into Archer and Olive, I was really bad for, I was just like, I will just order this because what if it turns out later that I like it and then I can't get it anymore? And so now I have this like truckload of Archer and Olive notebooks, and I realize that like actually I much prefer um Tomoe River paper. And I mean, I always loved Tomoe River paper, but I had this like, dalliance with the 160 GSM paper, mostly because it was satisfying to be able to fill up a giant chunky book in like a couple of months because the paper is so thick. You're like, oh, look at this, I've completed all of this as a journal. That was my main motivation, honestly, and also because their cover designs are amazing. um but I think now that I've like kind of got more into fountain pen inks, like different kinds of fountain pen inks, they don't display the ink properties as well. So I've kind of gone back to the OG, like the thin Japanese fountain pen divine paper. And so now I have all these Arch and Olive notebooks, but sometimes the kind of frivolous impulse buys have paid off. So for the sonnet project, um Arch and Olive, a couple of years ago, maybe it was like 3 years ago now, they released this really amazing notebook that had like an embroidered front. And it's like, it was an unusual size. It's square, 9 inches by 9 inches, which they don't normally release. Their usual square notebooks are 8 by 8. So it was like kind of a bit bigger, but like not gigantic. And it has this like amazing floral embroidered cover. And so I was saving it because I was always like, I need to use this for something amazing. And then, I was thinking recently, like, what amazing thing am I ever going to have that, like, how many times do I like do something like truly amazing that needs like a really special notebook? And then James mentioned that he was going to start doing this sonnet project with his friend, and there are 154 sonnets, and the book has 160 pages. So I was like, oh, this will be perfect for the sonnet project. So sometimes it kind of works out, but like so there, I feel like there must be some sort of middle ground between like having to buy all of the designs that you think you might possibly like in case they sell out and you're devastated forever, and like kind of being really strict with yourself and not buying any of them. I haven't found it yet. Now I'm very good at not buying Arch and Olive notebooks anymore. I think because I don't really want to use the paper, that has made it easier to resist the covers, because some of the covers are amazing. And so I'm like the last launch, they had this one that looks like it's like an antique map, and there's like a ship sailing in this sort of fantasy land, and it's really cool. It's a full cover design. And I think like a year ago, I just like would have been like, click, must have. And now I'm like, okay, I like the cover, but I don't actually want to use the paper on the inside. So like there is no point in buying that. And that kind of made it easier for my brain to like say like, yeah, we don't need this. But my weakness now is like any kind of, like, what is it called now? B7? I think it used to be Cosmo or Light, or like Aerofull or View Corona or Koji paper, like any of the new papers that have been coming out as kind of alternatives to White River paper. I'm like, need to try. um, so that's kind of replaced the Archer and Olive notebook. So it's really just as bad.
Well,
So even though the ring planners were sort of a catalyst for me to get a bunch of new supplies, now that I have those supplies, I feel like I can ring plan for a long time without getting anything new. Especially because like I feel like I don't, I mean, when Hobonichi season comes around, I know I'm not going to buy a Hobonichi. So it's easy for me to kind of um participated in like a voyeuristic way to just like, what are you gonna buy? What are
Yeah,
you gonna buy? What are you gonna buy?
that's
And
fun
then
too, actually.
live vicariously through everybody and like sometimes feel a little jealous and left out, but then um I can do things that like with a bound planner you can't do. Like I can change up my themes every week or every month. Meaning I just print out Polaroids and put them in the front of my planner. And that's like my, or I can change up all my like dividers and things like that. So there's ways I sort of and I can also be, I try to be really DIY about it. Like if there's something I do really like from Hobonichi, like I loved their this pencil board collection. I can get it and cut it down. If there's one that makes sense to like cut down to it, like this fit perfectly in my Mini 5.
That's
Um,
so cute.
yeah, I
That's
think it was
really
the
nice
Weeks
then.
pencil board. Yeah. So, and those are really affordable. So like I feel like I can participate in a smaller ways. I think my cat just knocked over something in my bathroom. But yeah, so I feel like sometimes I do feel a little left out. And like the other day I mentioned I was on Jet Pens looking at Hobonichi Weeks. Um, I was thinking maybe I could get something to like re-spark my like planner life. Because I've been trying and I've been enjoying my ring planner. But it's like I need I need something. I need something.
So all of the April start weeks are sold out? That's
I think
tragic.
the only one left is like the holographic one with the cats and
Oh,
dogs on the front,
yeah. I'm
which I
not
really
keen on
don't
that.
enjoy.
No, I'm not a fan of that one either.
I would like it if it was only cats, but I don't like the dog. I don't know
Oh,
why.
interesting. I don't like the design. I would like it if I like dogs and cats. I mean, mostly dogs, obviously, but I just don't like the design. I would like it if it was just hollow
Mhm.
without like a design on it. But yeah, that would stop me. I wouldn't even with my, crazy Hobonichi list, I wouldn't order that either if it was the only one left.
Well, I think you're bringing up a really interesting point of like, because again, as someone who is like newer, I feel like a lot of my overconsumption at the beginning, and I don't even know if I necessarily like the term overconsumption. Like, I'm allowed to consume what I'm going to consume.
Yeah.
I'm an
Exactly.
adult. I make my decision, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm, dual income, no child household.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
buy all the pens, right? Like,
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of like what I would say is like regrets or things that I wish I hadn't jumped into is because I was trying to figure out what I enjoy. Like there are so many avenues for notebooks, planners, pens, markers. Like, do you want the sailor brush tip pen or are you a Tombow girly? Are you and so like you're
Yeah.
trying to figure that out and very few of those things you can just buy like a Lucy one and try it out.
Yeah.
And like some of those, yes, and they are like more affordable, but others, it's like, well, you can go to I mean, I'm very lucky to live in New York where I can go to a store and be like, can I try your 24 karat gold nib pen, please? And they're like, sure. Um, but if I didn't live here, I can imagine that you're like, okay, what's the cheapest gold pen I can buy to like feel what this is like, right? And then you're like, oh, I hate this, but I actually like this brand better. And like,
Yeah.
how do you figure that out? Um, and you just kind of have to buy like, oh, I want to know what early on in my ink journey, I was like, I don't know what all these different papers and how they take ink. And like the smallest pad I could buy was still a pad of paper that I now have 8 pads of different Irrifol and this paper and this
Yeah.
paper. And like, sure, I write letters, but my God, I'll have to write letters till I'm 74 to use up all these pads of paper. Um, and so I think that is the nature of this hobby is that unfortunately some things you have to kind of like, well, I love this sticker, but it's attached to the sticker sheet of 40 stickers, and I have to buy the sheet. I like this washi, and God knows with my 50 other washies, when am I going to finish these ever? Because they come so thick on a roll, like, and so you're kind of trapped in this, like, it's really cute, but now I have 70 of them and I'm never going to finish them. Like, um, and so I think that's the part of it that's also a problem is like, I guess trying to sample what you enjoy, but also like some of it just comes with so much. Like even a Tombow marker, like I've been using them and like when do they dry out? I don't know, years from now maybe? Like so yeah.
I think that this is a really important point, though. This is something that I had in mind before we started the episode. That I feel like a lot of what people call overconsumption and condemn is just experimenting that needs to happen so that you can find out what you like. And also sometimes what you like changes over time. And there really isn't any other way to do it except by trying it. Like how are you going to know? So I don't I mean, and I think I don't know what like overconsumption, like you said, what does overconsumption mean anyway? Because it's not like there's a sort of an absolute number that like if you cross that like a speeding limit, that if you cross it then it's like, oh, you're now over consuming. It's like, what does it mean? Like, so I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube because I think for a while it seemed like maybe it still is, but like recently there's kind of over the past year there's been a lot of talk about like overconsumption in the planner community, and like this is the year that people are going to stop over consuming. And I kind of feel like surely the only criterion should be like if you like your stuff and you use your stuff, then who is to tell you whether you have too much? Like, because for one person, one bottle of ink and one pen might be enough, but like for another person, they want to have lots of different bottles of ink and different pens for different purposes. And like, who is anyone else to tell them that they're wrong for doing that? That like, I don't, and I don't, yeah. So I kind of find the whole thing a bit abstract because like there but like I also have this there's this like I think guilt, like you're like, oh, we should all be it's like I kind of like feel like I'm a minimalist trapped in the body of a maximalist. Because I kind of have this idea of like my beautiful sleek minimalist, everything empty, and I just have like my one cousin and my one pencil and then like my one pen, my one true pen, and then like my one journal. But like realistically, I like starting new notebooks for different purposes and like trying different things, and sometimes some of them work out and sometimes they don't, and the ones that work out were originally experiments. So like say my A5 5-year tetra that I use for like my kind of highlight of the day, which is like one of the planners that I would rescue if the house was burning. I think it took me like 5 tries to get that right. Like I bought 5 different A5 5-year tetras in consecutive years and just ended up recycling them, which was always a tragedy. But they just didn't work. Like I tried doing different things with them and it didn't work. But and then for some reason I just kept I felt like there was something like I wanted to keep going because I knew that eventually I would like crack the mystery, and then I did. And now I'm like I feel like it was all worth it. And it's like, yeah, it's a waste of materials and it's really shameful, and especially because like I think ironically all of those failed attempts were the original Tomoe River paper. But I just feel like I'm not going to keep them if I like, and it's like not the worst thing in the world. They're recyclable except for the cover, so I had to tear the cover off, which was horrible. And I don't like to relive that experience.
My
I think
God.
a couple of times I made James do it.
You had to dismember Benici.
Yeah,
No.
but it like is it like the worst crime in the world? Like, is it as bad as I don't know? Like so like there are probably lots of terrible things that people could do that are worse than buying an A5 or several A5 5-year tetras and not using them, or like like using a few pages and then realizing that it's not going to work, or like getting glue on them, or I did terrible things. But I kind of feel like you have to experiment, and then eventually if it works out then it's worth it. So that's another issue. I completely agree with you that it's kind of who is there to tell us, like, yeah, like we're adults, we can spend our money on what we want to spend it on. And if we weren't spending it on planner supplies, like does that necessarily mean that we would be spending it on something
Oh,
better?
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I also think like not to, you know, veer us too far from like a stationary conversation, but I do think that stationery, especially the journaling part of it and the stickers and the washi, it is a very female coded hobby and therefore gets laid on with criticism because no one is telling like sports enthusiasts, you're over consuming your jerseys and your, trophies and your whatever it is that sports people buy, right? Because it doesn't get put up for criticism because it's like a manly pursuit that's okay, right? Whatever that means. But I do think like anything that is female coded, it suddenly becomes a conversation of like, oh, you're throwing away your money, right?
Interesting.
Or frivolous, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I've often thought this with like say years ago, I used to get comments like, "Ooh, why do you have so many planners? You should only have one planner." And if like, yeah, I could only have one planner, but I want to have more than one. I like it. Like, what's wrong with that? And like, if you like, say, if you like watching films, no one ever would say to you like, "Ugh, how come you have to go to the cinema more than once? You should just go once and watch one film, and that should be enough. Why do you need to watch so many films?" Like, right? That would be ridiculous. Um, or like, why do you need to buy so many DVDs or I don't know how like any or has, maybe actually with books there is I've seen on like the kind of bookish YouTube, which I sort of got into because it kind of overlaps a lot with the reading journal
Hmm.
channels, and I like the reading journal channels. So so you hear a lot actually about people like saying like it's not normal to have like 500 books on your TBR list, or which is like, well, okay, but what is normal? I mean, because I think I've always had like a thing that I like to buy, and before it was stationery. I mean, I've always liked stationery, but before I kind of like got into the planner community, it was books. So I used to buy books, and often I would buy books and then like just they would sit around for ages because I had time to buy them and not to read them. And so I kind of think like, well, it hasn't really changed. It's just that instead of buying books with printing on them, now I buy books that are empty. And like so yeah, I just think I don't know. My colleague sent me a meme. He said, every time I think I found a new hobby, it turns out I just like to buy stuff. And I was like, yeah, I can relate to that. But it's like, is it really doing that much harm? I don't think it's that bad compared to like, I mean, the world is kind of in a terrible place. I don't think that us like buying notebooks is really the make or break of like whether or not we're going to survive the next century or
I
not.
mean, is stationery better or worse than Labubus? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
At least I'm using my planner stuff and, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Labubus bring joy to people. I do. But like, if will they endure longer than my ring planner inserts? I don't know. I don't know.
So yeah, I think it's just it's very subjective. And like I think
Yeah.
what I've had gone through these phases where I'm like, okay, from now on, I buy no new planners. I buy no new notebooks. I buy like, kind of nothing unless I have like a precise need for it, which is obviously very rare because I could survive on a desert island for the next 100 years with the planet supplies that I already have, like quite happily. So like I know I don't really need anything more except I need a new cousin every year and a new weeks every year. And I think that's like pretty much it. But then so I've yeah, so for kind of years I've gone through these cycles where I was like, right, not buying anything else. And then and I'm like, but I really like this thing. What about this thing? And then I kind of try to think of ways that I could use it that would, sort of like allow me to be able to buy it. And so it's kind of I feel like if you kind of like restrict yourself too much, I guess like with anything, then you just kind of become more and more obsessed with it unless you genuinely manage to kind of like break free like it seems like you have, Simone. And it sounds like the way to do it is just by like not watching or following
Well,
anything.
it's not that I don't want I want to because that would mean I would like be using it more. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, um, I might like to like have a whole episode about my planner crisis and what to do
Yeah,
and what
yeah, we
y'all
should.
do if you ever are in a
Yes.
planner crisis or
Yes.
have, but like, so I feel like my situation is weird, but I also feel like, um, we in the planner community, we talk about plan overconsumption in the planner community, obviously because it's our community, but like, I'm sure every other type of hobby also has that. Like I'm sure there's a discussion, like you said, in the book community, like why aren't you using the
Yeah.
library instead of
Yeah.
buying all your books? Or like um sports fans, I guess, betting on games and like buying all the memorabilia. Like who needs why do you have a cabinet full of like jumbo plastic sport cups from the stadiums that you go to? Like like
Yeah.
so it's sort of like it's such, yeah, like I feel like it's just so
Well,
nuanced, and and everybody's situation is different. Um, and like maybe it's a less of like a shopping addiction and more of just like a like we live in capitalism and we
Yeah.
participate in that in ways that have to bring us joy in some way.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
that might not be the healthiest thing to do. Um, like healthy is in like maybe not the best financial decision, or maybe not the best like clutter decision, maybe not the best like mental health decision. Like if I'm using shopping to like, try and feel better. But I think it's like you said, it's our own experience.
well, that
And it's
makes me
mm,
think about
but
things and like
mm,
an interesting like dynamic of like having stationery versus collecting stationery. When you
Hmm.
mentioned the sports memorabilia, and
Yeah.
maybe that's where like the overconsumption kicks in because it's like I could have four notebooks if I'm eventually going to use them and do something with them. But maybe it's like when I have a shelf of like every field note that's ever been created and I don't write in them, I just like to have them. But then like, does that need our judgment either? I don't
yeah,
think so.
because people buy like say people buy paintings just to look at them, right? And you're not expected to do anything with them. And in fact, you can't really do anything with them. So, but that's considered legitimate because they, kind of delight the eyes when you see them, they make you happy to like, have them in your house. So yeah, I guess one criterion is like, are you going to use it or can you use it? And another one is like, just does it make you happy? Because I think a lot of times the issue is with me anyway. The issue is like, does it go from seeing all of my beautiful planner stuff and feeling happy about it to being like a problem, as in like I have too much stuff and I don't know where to put it and it is becoming clutter. Like so for me that's I think the line where like if I'm like I don't have enough room for my ink and they're all stacked on top of each other so I can't find the ones that I want, then to me that's like okay, either I have too much ink or I don't have enough space, so either I have to get rid of something else to that I'm not using to make room for them. Like stamps, I have a lot of rubber stamps because I went through this like phase like a couple of years ago. So what usually what happens is with good intentions I give up one kind of stationary item in an attempt to like switch to something that's more sustainable. So like when I was using stickers in washi, I had like all these stickers in washi and I was thinking like, well, this is no good because if I'm like decorating my journals with stickers and washi, I'm just going to have to keep buying more stickers and washi. So that's like, a constant loop of consumption. Whereas if I say I won't buy any more stickers or washi, but I use rubber stamps instead, then like I'll have the rubber stamps forever. And all I need to do is buy replacement ink pads. And that's like much less of a footprint. So then I bought like 10,000 rubber stamps. all the different, like zodiac and like seascapes and like, fantasy animals and trees and like everything. Because I was like, this is going to be my new life forever. I'm going to decorate all of my journals with stamps and I will never buy stickers or washi again. And I will live happily ever after. And then I kind of I was like, what would be even more sustainable would be fountain pen ink, because fountain pen ink usually comes in glass jars and is like, more recyclable than the stamp pads. And then I discovered like the metal stencils I think I talked about before. So then I was like, this is much better because the metal stencils, first of all, they take up like hardly any room. So you can have like a whole bunch of different ones and it's just like one binder. And also I can use fountain pens, and so they can use my fountain pen ink, which is like better because I use it for pens as well, so I can have like be multi-purpose. So then I was like, right, no more buying stamps, and I was quite good with that. I was like, okay, I don't buy stamps anymore. I don't buy stickers and washi unless it's for like a specific approved thing. Like I have this, one journal that needs think I might have showed it before. It's my like Jewish calendar journal. It's an Arch and Olive notebook where I like put the Jewish calendar so that I know what time like the Jewish holidays start, and I decorate it with like a celestial theme. So like that's allowed, but like I don't just kind of like randomly buy stickers and washi anymore. So that I managed to do, because then it was like my brain was like, okay, we don't need that anymore. No buying that, because now we've got this other stuff to buy instead. And it has always been with good intentions. Like I'm trying to kind of make it smaller, less plastic, etc., etc. But then I'm like, well, now I need like every single shade of fountain pen ink there is, because like, what if I want to like make a stencil design with this like particular shade of celadon or and the I don't know if it's just because I've got into it more recently or if it's like everybody's got into it more recently, but it seems like there's a lot more like fountain pen ink content on YouTube like in the last year. There's lots of like currently inked videos and like ink hauls and like people comparing like all of the different shades of turquoise inks, or like from all the different brands. And so I think at some point now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, stop buying ink, because at some point there might be like 64 million different colors in the universe, but like really there are only like maybe 3 or 4 different shades of purple. And then beyond that, it's like, it's close enough. So I'm kind of trying to so generally I can kind of like stop buying something in a category, but something else always replaces it. That's the frustrating thing, is that I can never get to the point where I'm like, I don't need anything anymore at all. I'll just use the stuff that I have. I think that's maybe the issue,
Mm.
because I know that that should be possible. Like I have enough stuff that I don't need to buy any other things, and that is I haven't been able to figure that out.
I I have a small stamp collection which I can show you because it's right here.
That's very modest.
It's right here.
I am again
Um,
impressed.
and most of them are, let's see if I can get closer so you can actually see them. Um, and so some of them are very, like I have them displayed here because I love looking at them.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't I don't use them like super often, but like I don't know, often enough. But like I have some this is Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. And Totoro, there's another Kiki one. These, however, are from I think it's LCN.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh, she's great.
and her art
Mhm.
is just
Wow.
incredible.
Wow.
That's stunning.
Um, and she also has made she has this collection of metal stamps. Um, so instead of rubber, it's metal.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cool.
So that's like a mountain and a star. It's just incredible. And
Wow.
it's like attached to this brick. Um, so it's, and here's another one. This one is like mushrooms, like fungi.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
It's just like very interesting art, but also like in a very interesting uh materials.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not it's and they're pretty expensive for what they are. So it's like I can only buy first of all, they're hard to find. Not everyone carries them, and they're um, not in stock very often. And for what they are, they're expensive. So it's almost impossible to overconsume those, like those specific ones, because they're not on Temu. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
Yeah.
so then there's this other side of this whole conversation where it's like, are you buying, like maybe you have a lot of something, but you've bought it in small quantities over a long period of time, and it's like a collection versus buying like a Temu haul every, I keep saying Temu. I've never even used Temu. But
I think Temu is a good illustration though, because that's like the kind of like fast fashion,
right.
like cheap stuff that doesn't last very long. That kind of thing. So it is a good example to use. As opposed
Well,
to
Yeah.
like small artists or like small businesses. Actually, which is another point. Because I'm always like thinking, okay, but like there's like overconsumption, but there's like also supporting small businesses, which I think generally people agree is good. So like these um these are my beloved onion skin notebooks, which are made by the Onion Skin Journal. And it's a really small company. I think it's basically just like one person that does them. And these are similar because they're expensive. They're often out of stock. And like this, so I bought one when this one was out of stock. This was like when I discovered them, this design was out of stock, and I love like moon phase anything. So I was like, that's the one I really want. But I kept checking, and it wasn't in stock. So I bought one with like it was green with a like black map of the world, which was like not my favorite design, but I was like, I really want to try this onion skin paper, and it was fantastic paper. I love it because it's like Tomoe River paper, but like even more crinkly and
Yeah.
like even thinner. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing. So when these finally came back in stock, I bought like I think five of them, and I was like, I don't care. I just want to have five of these notebooks. So now I kind of feel happy because I'm like, I have five of these, which will last me for a very long time. And like they're out of stock again, and I have them, and now I don't have to worry about onion skin journals anymore. And it's like a really small company, and they're like, made with love and everything. So I kind of feel like that is a good business to support. Um, and that's like I guess another issue as well is like where you buying stuff from, and because like yeah, like that those LCN designs, she's an artist, and so it's kind of nice to think that you're supporting an artist.
Yeah.
Well, and I
And
think,
yeah,
yeah, to base off of jump off of the earlier point about capitalism, like, so we do all have to live under a capitalist, society, but I think the power of where we put our money, whether you think about it as overconsumption or not, like you showed those Coffee Monster Co. like star stickers, right? And I think she's somebody, Helen, who runs that store, like has gotten some criticism of like the scarcity mindset, but she also, anytime she drops something, does like ready to buy and then pre-sale for anything else. And she'll make as much to meet the need that is there, as an attempt to kind of like fight that feeling, right? Like, don't worry, like you will get it if you want it, right? Um, and I think that that's also the push and pull if you're a small creator. Like, I want to make my art and I'm glad people are buying it, but I can't churn out the amount. And I mean, Helen is like in another stratosphere, so I think she's now able to do that. But like, if I'm, printing these on my little sticker printer in the back of my house, like I can only go so far, but then it's like, but scarcity mindset. It's like, but I can't produce 50,000 stickers, right? Like, and then we just circles back. But I think I appreciate like that. I know my money is going to somebody who's like crafting something as an artist as opposed to some company that used AI to cobble together some atrocious image and stuck it on some washi paper.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
And
think
then like
go on.
I was just gonna say there's a similar to that companies who do pre-orders so that they only need to produce what they sold versus ordering a huge amount in the hopes that you can sell it. Um, and best case scenario, you do sell it all. More realistically, you sell a good portion of it, but then there's always going to be leftovers. And for something like planners, which have a very limited lifespan of when you can actually use it if it's a dated planner. Um, like it's a reduction of waste and like I imagine a company like Hobonichi puts a lot of time and resources into like sales projections so that they don't have to lose money on products that they
Mhm.
produce but can't sell. Um,
Hobonichi, actually, that was what I was going to say is like, because I know I'm like always like chair of the Hobonichi defense team, but I think Hobonichi obviously always gets criticized for like generating like so much hype about their new releases. But I think they're, and then, like some of them sell out. But I think they do a pretty good job of restocking things. So like you might have to wait a couple of months if it turns out that the thing that you, first of all, they give you notice, so they have like a week where you can just like browse the shop before you can order. So generally I think people kind of know what they want in time. And then you can't, you generally, that like, so this year, and it's always something I'm not even sure that, I mean, maybe they know and I'm giving them too much credit, but I don't even know if they know which things are going to be the ones that sell out really quickly. Because so for me, like having, watching them every year, I'm like, oh, I think that this one is going to sell out really quickly, and then it doesn't, and something else does. So like this year, it was the Junji Ito, like the all of the Tomiya stuff, just like sold out like that, and everyone was like, why Hobonichi? But then they restocked it all. So it's like if you wanted that, like you would, you by now you will have been able to get it. What?
I'm laughing because I just checked Jet Pens and all the April starts are restocked.
See, Hobonichi
Oh
King.
no, no, this is not good.
Yeah. Oh, now we need to have a discussion about weeks. Which are your favorite weeks?
The Yumi Kitagashi is in stock.
That's mine. That's the one I have. I
I
love
know
it.
it's the cutest. I also love the Iyo Okumi, like the green
The
one.
embroidered one.
Yeah, that seems pretty fragile though.
If you get the Yumiki Tagishi one, then we'll be weeks twins.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Well,
well
the embroidered weeks is not actually fabric though. It's a
oh, it's
plastic.
not. It
It
No,
is.
it's
just
just the
looks like it is.
design. Yeah,
Oh, it is. Oh, it is plastic. Okay, yeah, I
I
might get
think
that one.
it's rugged. Yeah.
It's the glossy cover.
So now the discussion of about planner consumption has suddenly become more urgent because I think you need to consume some planners right now.
Live on this episode, Simone
Well,
consumes.
Yes,
well, I was
I
gonna
don't
say
think.
I went to the like, because being in New York, they had the in-person like drop event, Hobonichi did.
Oh wow.
And it felt like I don't this is might be a very dated reference, but remember that Tom like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he's trying to get that toy for Christmas and like people are like fighting in the mall? That's
Yeah.
like people were not fighting, but it was definitely like the doors open, your time ticket, and people were like going in and like, I need the Yumi Kitagishi. I need the like they
Yeah.
knew exactly what they wanted. And it was like a flurry of like people grabbing covers and like you like praying that by the time your time ticket came up that they had yours still. And like some of them were like sold out within the first couple rounds. It was kind of intense.
Where
That
was that?
They had it in Brooklyn at a like a store that's like a home goods and it has a cafe attached to it and I'm not remembering the name of it. But it was like they partnered with this like shop and then they made like a little area for just the Hobonichi inside of it. So um so like on September 1st you could like walk in and get your Hobonichi.
I would find that really stressful actually. I mean, I guess we all, or most of us, that if you buy from the Hobonichi shop, you kind of participate in a virtual version of that. Like now that they have the waiting room, and you're like, I'm in the waiting room. I hope I'll be able to get it. I hope it doesn't sell out before I want it, which is stupid. And I think we all know that it's stupid because they restock. So it's like if you don't get it, you will still have it like before January. But somehow that, like, I don't know, the Hobonichi craze just, takes over and you're like, but I need to get it now. Um what I what I've discovered is that because in the UK the launch is at 3 a.m., the UK stockists, they've only started doing this in the last like 2 years, I think. And I think it's the same way like Yoseka has been doing this, but they've had Hobonichi stuff for longer and jet pens. They will open for purchase at the same time. So like 11 a.m. Japan time. So in New York, it's like 7 p.m. I think. But
Hmm.
so for me, um, this year I ordered some stuff from the Journal Shop, which is like a UK shop. So because it's 3 a.m., so fewer people are awake in the UK at 3 a.m. ordering stuff from that. Like then, as it, I mean, the real diehard like lunatics like myself, obviously, yes, but like I think the general population is not. It's not like there are like hundreds of thousands of people like waiting at 3 a.m. to order stuff. Whereas probably in New York, there are many more people because it's like a time of day when people are generally awake anyway. So that's kind of less stressful. And the stuff that's not Japan only, I could order from them, and that was nice because then I was like, okay, no matter what happens with the Hobonichi website, at least I've got this stuff. But I think that only works in like Europe where it's the middle of the night when the launch happens. Um, yeah, otherwise I don't know how to avoid that because I think we all just like by the time the 1st of September comes, we're just like all so excited that we want to see it as soon as possible, even if you don't actually need to start using it until a few months later.
I
Um,
mean, it's totally true because I bought this thing and I was like, yes, I have it. And then it just sat in packaging for
yeah,
months. Like,
yeah,
soon, my pretty, soon. Like,
exactly. But I kind of feel like that whole process, like I really enjoy it because to me, it's kind of like, and people criticize it because they're like, oh, like this, like, everyone like goes into a frenzy, like trying to order these things before they sell out. And it's like, intentional scarcity. But I think it's part of the experience because as we've established, they do restock. So it's not like you'll never be able to get it. It's just that if you get it when it comes out, it's really exciting, like having it come early. And then for all those few months, you're like looking at it and it's sort of like a promise of great things to come. So I feel like it gives me like something else to live for. Like, something I mean, I didn't mean to sound I didn't mean that to sound as dramatic as it did, but it's like it's something to look forward to. It's like
on this episode of Plannerds, we get deep.
like something amazing is just around the corner and it's like there it's like a symbol and you have it and it's like soon you'll get to use me, and I find it very uplifting. So I quite like the fact that they come early, because if you just got it like the date, like I don't know, December 31st, then you wouldn't have all that time of like anticipation, which is one of the exciting things about, it's like you get to have that time like looking at it thinking like, soon I'm going to use you, and you can like start planning the layouts and stuff. So
In
I
some
like
ways, I guess it's like when we would, oh, I'm sure perhaps we were all similar considering we're on this podcast, but it's like when you have your new school supplies and your new school outfit and you're
yeah,
like buzzing to be able to like use all that new stuff. And it's
yes,
like,
yes.
um,
The
yeah.
anticipation is part of it. So yeah, I don't like the artificial, the like companies that are always doing limited editions and it's like you'll never be able to get this again because when they don't need to. That is but I feel like that's different from, like you said, Simone, like kind of having small batches because you don't want to like produce too much. And so like yeah, Sterling Inc., which is another company that I order from quite a bit,
Hmm.
is I think another one that's good at that because she does the pre-orders, and then she also seems to be quite careful about like managing stock. And with the notebooks, so like this is an undated notebook, this is my giant book of ink. She doesn't do pre-orders, I guess, because they're not dated, and so she just thinks to
Yeah.
just order an amount until they sell out, and then when they sell out, replace them, and that seems to work quite well. But she's also very mindful of that, and I think the pre-orders are a really good way around it because yeah, then they know exactly how much to order and everybody gets one, and the pre-order is usually open for quite a while, so you can like think about it and look at the different designs. People still criticize that, but I think people just like to criticize things. Because I've seen people say like, well, it's really not fair because you order it so far in advance that like by the time it actually arrived, maybe things have changed. And that's true, but then there are like production times, and I don't
Yeah,
think
these
that,
are physical things. They have to like
yeah,
print and like put a book together. Like they
yeah,
take a long time. And
yeah,
for Sterling Inc., I remember she said in a video where like she she likes to follow the data. So
Mhm.
like year over year, she looks at what is selling and what isn't so that she doesn't because when a business orders something like a run of planners, there's a minimum order
Mhm.
for each like size and each color of that size with the gold edges or not like
Yeah. Yeah.
and like if there's no reason to order that if the sales are not going to meet that minimum threshold then there's no point in getting it because it's not going to sell and that's just wasteful
Yeah.
and like I I guess I know we've gone over an hour but there's another side of this I hadn't thought about until right now where like do you think there's a portion of the planner community that buys stuff just so they can like show that they have it.
Like clout.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see that criticism, especially when I see some creators or people who are just like they're hop and this I mean, I'm sure we can do a whole episode about planner hopping just in general,
Oh,
but
yes, we
I
should.
but
Yes.
I see these people who like it's like I got this, but now I'm in the Sterling ink, but now I'm gonna go over here to this, and it's like and I really struggle because there's the part of me, like Lily was saying earlier, like, and we were talking about like we got to figure out what works for us, and like, maybe like what we thought was going to work for us didn't until we figured it out. But then I'm like, we are 6 months into the year and we're still not figuring it out. Like, is this a symptom of a different kind of problem? Or, but then I realized like, why am I being judgmental? Like, they bought their thing, they're doing their thing. I'm obviously watching because I'm intrigued. So like, I just need to drop the judgment. Um, but I guess as human beings, sometimes that's difficult if I'm being like honest. But yeah. And but then I wonder, it's like, did you just get all of these so that you could have the content to talk about all of them, right? Which I mean, go after that bag girl. Like that makes sense if you're trying to get different people to watch different videos. But then I guess there's like the part of me that's like, well, why don't you just say, I'm going to try out all these planners because I want to see which one's the best, as opposed to this, if that is the purpose, what could be seen as disingenuous, like a narrative that you're creating. But then I'm like, I'm not in their head. Maybe they're not. And then I go spiral into my own thing about like, why do I have to judge strangers? Stop it. And then, now I'm in my own psychological process. But I do wonder if that is part of it. It's like I need to be able to speak to having all of them.
It's an interesting question actually because I always assume because I'm like very simple and I always just kind of take things at face value. So the people who talk about planner hopping, I always assume that they genuinely either just want to try out lots of different planners or they try one and then they realize that actually they're not happy with it and then they move to another one and that kind of like keeps happening. And then there are channels like the Joyful Sojourn who like explicitly says like I'm buying all of these different planners because I want to review them and show them to you. And like some of them I use and some of them I don't, but like this is my job. I review planners and so I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of planners. And so I kind of assume that the ones who are doing that, they say it rather than like kind of pretending to be planner hopping but actually just wanting to like draw in content, but I'm very naive. So I might be wrong. But you're right, we should do an episode on planner hopping. And the thing, so for me, I don't understand it in that like I feel like for my actual you know kind of working planners, like my cousin and my weeks basically, I I couldn't switch out of them because I would just get confused and not know what I was doing. So like I don't understand how that works for people. The people who planner hop, except for like Lindsay Scribbles who planner hops but she always back plans. And
I could never.
I couldn't do that either because I'm like she does that like because sometimes she said like she spends like the whole weekend back planning, and I'm and she seems to enjoy it. Like sometimes she says like yeah I spent all this time back planning, but it was like a comfort activity for me. And so I think like okay fair enough, like that's not any better or any worse than like me having like my five different journals for different things, or it's like whatever way you want, it makes you happy, like whatever aspect of the kind of planner journaling hobby you like I like copying stuff from books, and other people would be like, why are you copying stuff from books, like just read the book. And that's like, I don't know, I like it. So I think if that must be what it's like for her, like back planning. And so then I can understand that, because then she can always find the things somewhere, even if, and she has like one archive planner, which I think is usually a week's, but then she like planner hops, and she says like, I like planner hopping, and like that's just who I am. So I think that there are some people who just enjoy it because it's like I guess it's like the, like the dopamine, like it's exciting to start a new planner where everything is like all fresh. And I think this
Mhm.
is maybe a reason why some people like 6 month planners or quarterly planners, because then you get like the feeling of like starting a new planner more often than once a year. And I can understand that, but at the same time I find it also really satisfying to have like a whole year's worth of like a filled planner that's, like, like, my year is done, like I like that, so I feel like it's worth it. um to like, I'd rather have a year planner for my actual planners, and I just wouldn't, the ones that I use for like planning as opposed to journaling, I just would not know. I would be like, where are my appointments? What am I doing tomorrow? What's my name? Like, I just physically wouldn't be able to do it. But I think for the ones who can do it, I think some of them just like it. Like, it's fun. And I think, yeah, if it's fun and they like it, then like, go ahead and do it. But I just don't understand how they can function. Like, how do they not lose things? How do they know, like, I couldn't remember. I was like, is it in this book that I was using last month, or is it the one that I was using the month before? Or like, where is that phone number? I just like, but yeah, that can be for the other episode. I don't know. Do you think that there are people who like are like kind of pretending to planner hop, but actually it's just because they want to like be able to make content about different planners?
Well, I'm sure there's some people who are performative in the
Yeah.
planner journaling stationery
Hmm.
hobby, but like, I don't know. I've also never like are there people who in the like stationery, are there stationary influencers who like is that's their job? Like I know there's, really big accounts like Amanda Rach Lee, I think her name is, or like,
Yeah.
but like most of the stuff people I subscribe to like have are 50,000 subscribers is a lot, but like in the
Mhm.
scheme of YouTube subscribers, like, is that enough to be like a professional influencer? I have no idea. Like,
I don't either.
I don't know
I
how that works these days. I feel like,
no, neither do I. I don't know how much, in terms of like how much money they make, or I kind of assume that either they're like, I'm this doesn't, I don't I don't know how to say this without saying bad. I think of a lot of people in that position, they don't have a full-time job, and a lot of them have kids, so they, it's like if they didn't have that, the planner channel, they would like be stay-at-home moms. So that's
hmm,
like their job, but it's like a part-time job. That, I don't mean it in a bad way. That is just how I understand it. And then there's some who have like Siobhan from Just Scribble, or Karina Loves to Plan. They have mentioned that they have like full-time jobs, like 9 to 5 jobs, and then they do this on the
mhm.
side. But they seem to like kind of have enough of a, I mean, like, Just Scribble, like she's launched this like whole planner business. Like, I have no idea how she does that. So I don't know, but like, so I don't know if it's, or like Mark Your Pages, he has a full-time job and then he does the planner stuff on the side as well. But like, I think that they're all monetized. I don't know, because I have YouTube Premium. It's like, because I can't stand the ads, and I
Yeah.
like listen to like 16 hours of planner YouTube a day. So um I
Well, when I
I don't
started my
know.
planner channel, I specifically like turned the monetization off
Yeah,
because I didn't want like that to warp the perception of, or like I didn't want that to be any reason why I made planner content because I didn't want
same.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I never want to be monetized, because like I don't even want to think about that. I just want this to be like fun. Not that I think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that, yeah, I was just like, because I feel like for me, as soon as something is making money, it starts to feel like work, and then it's not fun anymore. And then I would kind of stress about like how good the quality is. I mean, obviously you want the quality to be good in any case, but I kind of felt like if people complain, I would be like, well, I'm doing this for fun in my free time. So like, you know, what do you want from me? It's kind of easier to just like not take it as seriously if you're not
But I guess that
monetized. Yeah.
that brings it back to this idea of like capitalism and how it affects this
Yes.
consumerist nature, right?
Mm,
Because even if, let's say we take the most disingenuous view of somebody who's doing that, right? They're only doing it because it's like, well, now they're a cog in the machine of like
yeah.
trying to get more viewers to, make money off of their monetization, which is like, if that is, a goal for you to have this side hustle, then like that's
Yes.
by design, right? Like
Yes.
you
Yes.
can't fault them for that. Just like
No.
you can't fault Hobonichi for wanting to drum up customers to
Yeah.
buy their product because they want to make
Yes.
money, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but then
Yeah.
it all starts to like insidiously like warp everything together. Um, and
Yeah. Because I think a lot of I guess the point is that like a lot of people would not be able to maybe like buy all of the planner supplies if they weren't monetized or if they didn't get stuff for free. So like so with I think with the pens especially, because like fountain pens can be really expensive, and so people with the like new pen days, it's kind of you and some of them are very transparent about it, and they're like, yeah, some of like, I'm very lucky I was given these to review, or like I was, like so some people are quite open about it, but others are like, this is my new pen day, and you don't actually know sometimes whether or not they just bought that pen or if they were given it. And that is true in some cases when they don't say. I feel like a lot of channels are like quite open about where they got things, and they'll say like, this isn't sponsored, but I was given this to review or something, but not always. So I guess sometimes maybe it creates a false impression of like, but then of what is normal, but like with the books. But then I also think like, well, who is to say what is normal? Because like some people have like yeah, like I don't know, massive collection of handkerchiefs, or like, like the
designer bags or
yeah, like who is to say like, how many fountain pens or anything somebody should have. And because I've seen the opposite as well, like where there's some channels that I really like that have like planner and fountain pen content, like kind of feeling like they need to apologize when they show their fountain pen collections. And I'm just like, you don't need to apologize. Like this is your hobby and you love it. And like it's great that you have all of these pens, because like I want to see them and I want to know like which ones, like I like watching them. So like I'm not gonna say to you like I'm not gonna like trash you for having too many pens. Like but obviously on YouTube, people do that. Like they're like, how do you, like, children are starving? How come you have so many pens? So, um, so yeah. So there's like sort of I don't know, both. You can't win really, I guess.
yeah.
um,
Well, I guess it's that phrase, like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, right?
mm, mm-hmm.
So I
I mean,
think we could just, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say one creator that I really did appreciate. One of the things she said is oh my God, it's Little Coco Studios,
Oh
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she bought this like armoire that she'd always wanted, and she put all of her stationery things in it, and she's like, so now I have the experience of going to my stationery store like in my home, and like she's like trying to rewire her, like, oh, I'm going shopping of
Mm-hmm.
my own stash, right? And I really like that idea of like, okay, I've collected all of these things and now I can kind of like curate it and have it visible for me to use it. And maybe that'll help this idea of like, I have all my things that I need and they're here, and it's kind of an experience as opposed to like, let me dig through this drawer to find this.
That's
Uh,
a really good point, actually. I think that is something that we could definitely. I mean, like, I certainly sometimes I have this like, kind of flash of like thinking like, if I feel like browsing for something on like, Etsy or Miso Paper, which is kind of like a UK jet pens, or the journal shop, or any of them, I think like I should go to my shelves and like take out some of my notebooks that I haven't used yet, because like they're beautiful and I bought them because like I love them and they're as good as anything that is on this site. So and then I forget again. So I have to like somehow like stick it on one of my planners that I use all the time. Like it's like, look, enjoy your home shop, because she's right. That is a really good technique, I think, for rewiring the brain. Like, because we got all of this stuff because we want, because we really liked it. So we should sort of treat it as if like we have a shop in our own house, and hopefully that will help with. It's like I think it's like it's exciting to get something new, but if you have lots of stuff that you're not like using right then, I think it's true that you can get that same feeling. It's like you're not looking at it all the time unless you're using that particular notebook. So yeah, you can go to your shelf and be like, oh, look at this amazing thing that I have in my
Yeah.
shop. I'll just buy it now and take it to admire.
That's why I love open shelves. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge open shelf thing from IKEA, and it houses pretty much everything I own that's not like a kitchen dish, like in the kitchen cabinet, or like a piece of clothing in my closet. Like this is all my stuff, and it's like all my planner stuff
Mm-hmm.
and all my books, and there's a whole this section over here is all my sewing stuff, and I have like my fabric on bolts, so it's like a fabric store on that bottom shelf over there because I can like see all the fabrics laid out. But like there's some stuff that is like hidden because like it's I don't like a sewing machine foot that I got for a specific sewing project. Like if I ever, I'm never going to use it again unless I do another project that requires it. So it's like in a uh, little case where all my other sewing feet are, and like, so I have a sewing machine foot collection, I guess.
Overconsumption.
I
That's a pretty
know, I
cool
know. Actually, I would love, can I geek out and show it to
Oh
you?
yeah, of
This
course.
is so off topic.
It's still it's still a crafty topic. Because James and I have been talking about this a lot, because like we both love crafting and we like to craft together, and we each have like slightly different craft obsessions, but we both like, so we're both, every time the doorbell rings and it's like, a package, we're like, no spend, we have to go to no spend. But like we're both as bad as the other, because like we both have like crafty hobbies, and so we like ordering stuff for our hobbies.
So,
Oh, that's
um,
adorable.
my ex-partner Tristan, actually we still talk all the time, but he made this for me
Wow.
he made it out of maple. And so he does like CNC woodworking as a hobby.
Wow.
So he made this and he made these inserts for the drawer
Whoa.
so that I could put all the sewing machine in
That's
sewing
so
feet,
cool.
and I put felt in the bottom. So each little sewing machine foot has its own little
That's
place.
incredible.
So
Wow.
like this is and there's four drawers of that. And like some of these are very specific sewing machine feet. Um
I didn't even know that there was such a thing.
like for like quilting or things like
Wow.
that. So like sewing is another hobby of mine, and like that's another thing that can lead to that like frenzy of like, oh, I need this foot and this fabric and like this thread, and now I have a I wouldn't say a hoard. I mean all my stuff fits in this in this place. But like yeah, so but it is all stuff that brings me joy, and like
Hmm.
with all my planner stuff specifically, even like my stamps here, um, when I see them, I'm more prone to use them because like what is it called? Permanence?
Object permanence. Yes.
hmm
Yeah.
Yes. Like out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. That's
So like
definitely true.
um I like I don't have too much stuff that I don't see it, if that makes sense. Um except for tiny things like stickers, which are in a book which you can't see, and then maybe I do forget what stickers I have, but you know.
So I think ultimately we're saying
Do what you want.
you can't
Yeah, do what you want.
overconsume if it makes you happy and it's not hurting you. Go
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, we will be back sometime in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, with another episode. Um,
Yes.
as always, it's so much fun to get to like discuss these topics in depth with other people who care about them just as much.
Yay. Thank you guys. It's been so wonderful talking to you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
hope
Thank
you have,
you.
yeah, and I hope you have a great upcoming week.
you too. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.